Cool. So we are recording. We are here at Mothers Illuminated, and we are talking to the great D Green, and he is awesome. He is like making waves in school right now for his community building skills. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, I'd like you to kind of tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you're at now.
Man, it's like, where do I start with that? Like, how far back do I go?
As far back as you feel tells the story.
Okay, I guess like a little bit of like my like background in terms of like, and I guess like this does play a role in my story. So I guess I'll start kind of like, you know, the movies that like it shows you something and then it like pauses and it's like, you wondering how I got here. All right, so like now I have this community and brand called Undeterred, which means to persevere despite setbacks. So going back now, when I was born, my mom was only 16, like for like a month. So she was 15 the majority of the time that she was pregnant with me. And she was living in California. Her mom got upset, sent her to Indiana to live like with her dad. They were divorced, they're separated. So I never met my dad. To this day, I don't know who he is. And so like growing up, there was like not really a lot of like expectations, right? It's like, okay, your mom's like a teenager. The first time I went to Disney World was for my mom getting like straight A's as like a senior in high school. So it's like there wasn't all these like expectations, but like what I would do as a kid was like watching movies and rap videos and all these things and seeing people like achieving their dreams and doing big things, and they're always saying like, I did it, you could do it too. So I was always like, man, I don't want to just be another one of these people that uses their upbringing as an excuse of why they're not doing things. Like that was like well, I'm in jail because my dad did this, or I'm aggressive because this. Like there was always an excuse, and I was like, I would rather use that as fuel than an excuse. So I had wanted to originally be like in the NBA. That was like my dream. Like I was in high school, I got like a scholarship to play like my freshman year of college. But on the first day, I ended up quitting because like at this time I was doing music, so I wanted to be like a famous like rapper / producer and like in the NBA. And I started getting like at this time I was like really obsessed with like Soldier Boy, and I got like in contact with like his team and like his DJ, and we're like talking and doing all this stuff. So I was like, oh, like this is gonna take off. So like I don't really want to. I was kind of burnt out from basketball too. I went to a really small school, and I was like basically like the only black person, and like if I'm scoring too much, they're like, don't pass him the ball like the rest of the game. So I really got burnt out of like that experience. So I was like, I'm just gonna go all in on music. So I was doing that for a while. I ended up transferring to go to Indiana University. So that Anderson, which is like 3,000 people. And I was like, if I want to do, you know, music and bigger things, I need to be around like more people. So IU has like 40,000 people or something like that. Like some of my classes had 200, 300 people in one class, like one class. And so the story goes, I was trying to like date this girl, and we were kind of like talking, like hanging out, and then like spring break was coming up, and she started being like very like funny, like not talking to me, and I was like, I feel like she's doing that way she can just do whatever she wants on spring break and like not feel bad about it, like, oh, we're not dating now, like, oh, we stopped talking. And that's kind of like what happened. So I was like, I'm gonna like create my own business, and I'll be like rich, and I'll make her like jealous like forever. So like, okay, well, what business do I start? And when I lived in Texas, some of my friends had a clothing line, and I would always give them ideas, and they never took them. So I was like, I'm just gonna start my own thing. And we used to do these like IU. There's another brand called Dope Couture. Have you ever heard of it? They have like the hats that's like DOPE, and the O and the P I think overlap. But like it
No,
got
I've
really
never heard of that.
like look it up, Dope Couture. Like they had like Justin Bieber, Lil Wayne, Wiz Khalifa, like all these big name stars that were coming up, like wearing their stuff, and they started on our campus. So even at like IU would have like Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, Nicki Minaj, like all these Mac Miller, all these people perform at school. So at the clothing line stores, you would have these meetups, like these meet and greets, like at these boutique places. So I had relationships with like all of these people. So when I wanted to start a brand, I just reached out to one of them, and one of the guys said, well, I closed down my clothing store. But what I did is I started a printing business. And so I print t-shirts. So if you want to come by, I'll give you the whole blueprint of like how to do it. Cause he actually had like a physical store. So that's how I got started. like based like as an entrepreneur, had this clothing line. I sold out of my stuff like really quickly because I knew a lot of people at school. But then um, once I got to the point of selling out to the people I knew, it's like, if you really want to grow a business, you have to know marketing. Okay, if you want to know marketing, you have to do social media. I'm like, bro, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. Like Instagram had only been around not even like a year, I don't think. So I'm like, how do I do YouTube? How do I do all this stuff? Like, it wasn't making any money. I graduated. I was working at the UPS store, making like, I don't know, $8 an hour, and trying to like get people to ship stuff overnight. That way I can get like 30 cents extras, like stupid stuff. And I eventually got an opportunity to go to Orlando. Like, these are all like mini stories in itself. But basically, like, I wanted to move to LA. My uncle told me like that's going to cost a lot of money. They had just moved to Orlando. He's like, what if you come to Orlando, but you have to make your decision because I'm going to go to Indiana. I'm only booking a one way, and you need to drive me back. And I need to know like basically like within the next couple of days. So I just kind of took a risk, moved down there, and that's where I like started doing all these like side projects, like building apps, starting a social media agency, like doing all these different types of things. And I always just had this vision of like having a business that made enough money to do full time, and it just felt like impossible. Like at the time, it's just like, how are all these people like making money online? I can't even get anyone to buy like anything for me that I don't know. Like, you can get friends or family to buy stuff to support you, but how do you get other people to buy your stuff that don't know you? Like, that felt like a crazy like unknown thing. So I had started a social media agency in like 2016 that allowed me to stop working other jobs, and I was just like helping people in Orlando with their social media. And then I wanted to start traveling, but then it was hard because like I have to like manage all these people's stuff, take photos, take videos. So 2020, I was like, man, I want to start a coaching business that makes like 10K per month. That way I can travel the world like once every 3 months. And bro, we had just moved to like downtown Orlando. So at this point, like me and my wife Lauren, like we had just got married, and I was like, I feel like God's telling us to like move to downtown Orlando. And like all of these are like such crazy stories, but basically we found this lady that said she would take us to view apartments in Orlando, downtown Orlando. So she's showing us them, and they all like sucked. We didn't like any of them, and they're like obviously like way more expensive because downtown Orlando compared to like where we were living. And then she goes, I'm actually gonna show you like another place. Like, I have one other place. It's kind of like a hidden gem, like it's new. I don't know if you'll like it, but we'll take you. It was like the dopest place. Like, they had like a what do you call it? Not like a living room, but like, oh, like a common area where they had like pool table, coffee machines, workplaces, big screen TV. They had a pool, they had a gym, they had concierge, they had a grocery store connected to it, like everything that you could possibly want. And in our mind, we had a specific day that we wanted to move. My last client for my social media agency, that was like going to be on that same specific date. And then after we toured this place, they said, if you sign by this date, which was the same date, we will give you 2 months free. Yeah, it's crazy. So we're like, what?
Wow.
So we ended up taking that, and we're like, all right, we have 2 months to like figure out how to make money. And I had like bought a whiteboard, like a portable one. And I would carry that whiteboard around downtown Orlando with expert secrets. And I would go to like Jimmy John's, I would go to wherever. And I was just trying to figure out like, what's my offer, like red ocean, blue ocean, like all these different types of things. And like, I remember like people telling me like, bro, one day you're going to figure this out. Cause like, you're just doing this every day, every day, every day. But like nothing was working and couldn't get anyone to buy anything. My friend told me about this guy, Dan Henry. So I bought like his book online, and then there was like an upsell to do like a challenge on like how to make money. Like, I made no money with that challenge. Booked a call with his team, and they're like, hey, we can help you, but it's going to be 10K like to join his coaching program. And I'm like, bro, like I'm not making any money. I just moved to downtown Orlando. The rent's like $800 more than it's like $2,500 a month. I'm not making any money. And I have a little money saved, but I need to use it for the rent. Like, that's like $3,000 that I have to use to pay the rent like 2 days. So I said no. And then I remember the lady said, like, is there ever a time in your life where you thought it was impossible, but like you found a way, or like God provided? And I was like, there is. Like, when I wanted to propose to Lauren in Paris, basically, I came up with this. Is like a longer story too, but like I had this idea of proposing to her in Paris, and I told people, they're like, bro, like, why do you have to do something so big, so fancy? Like, that's going to be too hard to do. And I was like, man, if I want to be like these people that I saw like achieving their dreams and saying I did it, you can do it too. I can't always live like with this small thinking. So I went for it, and I had like no money, no ring. Like she didn't even have a passport at the time. I only gave myself like 70 days, but like by refusing to quit, like eventually, like I was able to propose to her in Paris, like within that time. And that's like through that experience is what I learned, like what the word undeterred means. So fast forward, so I was like, okay, if I don't give them this money, I'm gonna have to just keep going back to carrying around this whiteboard around, crossing my fingers and hoping that eventually it's gonna work. But it's not. So I talked to Lauren and I was like, I think we just have to take a risk and do this. Like, do you trust me that I'm going to spend this rent money and I'm going to put the rest on PayPal credit, and let's just see what happens. So I did that, and like nothing, and still like nothing was working, bro. It was like terrible. It's like people were like, that was the stupidest decision. Like, it's COVID now. Like, you wasted this money, blah, blah. So we would just kept like trying offers. And I posted one day, I was in bed, and I was in this, the strategy back then was like join Facebook groups that are related to your niche and like post in them, right? I was in this group, social media managers, and I thought all the advice in there sucked. Like, no one actually was helping churches with social media. Everything looked like a freaking bulletin board. Like, none of them knew what they were doing. I just did a live video, and I was like, if I were running a church, what I would do is what the big churches do. Like, you record your service, you cut it up into clips, you post that, and like you give value, not just like, don't forget to come to church at 10 a.m. every single freaking post. And I was just like sharing like examples. That post got like 2,000 and 3,000 views or something like that. My DM was like flooded with like pastors, like, how can we work with you? I didn't have an offer for them. So then I asked Dan Henry's team, and they're like, bro, like, you know how hard it is for people to get like the response that you got without trying? Like, maybe you should run with that. So we started a coaching program helping churches like use social media. I was like, give me the person that runs it. I'll train them. You don't have to worry about that. $3,000 one-time payment. You have lifetime access. I'll give them a course, live calls. And inside of like, that was hard, but like inside of 2020, like we built that over like 6 figures. So then instead of just traveling once every 3 months, we just sold our stuff and moved to Mexico. So like, let's just be like digital nomads. So we lived in Mexico, Colombia, UK, Turkey, Albania, Hungary, Portugal, Morocco, like all these countries over the past 2021 to like now. And the offer changed from like helping pastors use social media to helping entrepreneurs use social media, to helping entrepreneurs use video content, helping them use YouTube. And I was talking to somebody once, and they were like, I feel like what you're doing is more impactful than social media. And like just the mindset you have and the way that you go about things can reach more people. I was in Budapest, Hungary at the time, and I was like, I went on a walk, and I felt like God was saying, like, you can only, like, what do you want to be successful in? But you can only like pick one thing. And I was like, I don't want to be like introduced as like the number one best-selling book on like YouTube or video content. I'm like, I feel like it needs to be more impactful than that. And as I was like walking around, I was like, man, a lot of these people, they just gave up on their dreams. Like, they're never like, they just think like, I'm Hungarian, or I'm a woman, or I'm young, or this is my history, this is my background, I can never do the things I want to do. And I was like, man, if I could like put my brain in their brain, or I could just like make them be undeterred, like their life looks so much differently. And so it's been like a long journey, but like that's basically like where we're at now, where it's like there's so many entrepreneurs around the world that have like a really good vision, that have a really good business idea, and they're working hard as hell like to achieve it. But because they're like doing it alone and they don't have like genuine support and help, it's hard, and a lot of them give up. And so it's like, why don't we just have like a free community where like they like you always, you always have a place to get support, like, and it's going to be genuine. It's not just like, hey, come in there, but we really just want to sell you into the next thing, or everyone's just pitching, or you do a post. So I think the frustrating thing for me is like, you join like a Facebook ads Facebook group, and then you're like, hey, how do I do the conversion for my ad or whatever? And like, no one answers your question, and the person that owns it will just like, hey, I have this course that you can buy for the whatever that shows you it. So that's like where we're at now. Like, I just looked at like, man, I was able to achieve these different things in my life, it was hard. I had support, but a lot of it is like just being undeterred. But it's hard doing it by yourself. And if we had a community of us doing it together, like we could all like achieve our dreams. And so like that's the vision for Undeterred now, is like how do we become like that brand for entrepreneurs that's like more people can come on like podcasts like this and they can tell a story of like this is what I wanted to do and I actually did it. That's the short
I love
version.
that. So how did you find school? Because now you're on school though. So what made you go from what you were doing to being on school?
That's a good question. I heard about school like a long time ago from, I don't remember how I first heard about it, but like years and years and years ago. I just didn't really like it at the time because there wasn't like a lot of features. Like they didn't have an app. And I'm like, bro, like people just have to log into the browser. So 2020, I was doing a Facebook group, right? I think most people are doing this. You have like Teachable or Kajabi for your course. Then you have like Facebook groups for your Facebook group. And then you have like Zoom for your like calls and stuff, like everything all over the place. Then I heard about like Circle. So I was on Circle. I was like, okay, everything's in one place. I guess like full transparency, like we were trying this, I stopped doing all my other businesses and I was like, I'm just going to focus on this. So I wasn't doing well, like financially. And like, I missed the payment for school. It was like $300 a month or something like that. So I was like, bro, like there's nowhere, like I can't even make money like to pay this back because like my whole thing is like shut off. So I was like, I was talking to someone and I was like, man, they would be a really cool person to connect with someone I know from like Morocco, but there's no way to connect them. If I just connect them in WhatsApp, like it's like they're going to say hi and that's it. I was like, and then when I would be in these different countries, me and Lauren would get like, 5 to 10 people every other week to like meet up at restaurants. But then you have to like start all over when I go to like Albania because like I have all these group chats. I was like, what if we just had like one place to keep people? So I was talking to this lady in Hungary and she said that she helps libraries with their newsletters. And she's like, I just go to one event every year and that's how I get all my clients. And that to me was like, that's the power of just having like one traffic source that you just kind of like dominate or do really well in. And I was like, right now I'm trying to get everyone to come to me to Circle. So I'm building my own traffic. I was like, where are my people already at that would be interested in what I'm doing? And I was like, well, school already has like 50,000 people in the community and it's community based. If I could just go in there and just become super known, like that's all I have to do. Like I don't have to focus on anything else. I can just only do that. So I was like, let me try it. Like I'll do the 2-week trial and see how it goes. And within that time, like we got like over 100 members and like, all this like stuff started happening. So that was basically like how I like went from Circle 2 there to school.
Love that. Now you've got like DMs from Sam Evans, the CEO of school,
Yeah.
and all these people asking you how to make it better. So you've definitely made an impression. Everybody like is like, who's this D guy? So what would you say is kind of the secret to kind of standing out in these saturated markets? Because like you said, school has so many people on it, and yet you came in and within 2 weeks of being there, just like you became on everyone's radar. So what do you think was kind of the secret to that?
I think the thing that I like talking about that I don't see anyone else really talking about is like everyone's Lord and Savior, or a lot of people's Lord and Savior is like Alex Hormozy, right? Like people love this dude so much that they do every single thing he does. And I think he has really good information and obviously he's been super successful. But I think the bad thing is like people make everything about messaging and like offers. And I think we need those things. But I think people lead with that so much to where the thing to me is like, imagine going on a date. You want to like, you like this person and you're just like, here, if we get married, these are the things I'm going to do. This is the value I'm going to provide to you. Oh, here's an offer stack. Would you be opposed to going? It's like, bro, I think the thing that I realized is like, if you can be genuine and if you can have a vibe, that's like how we get married. It's not about a specific thing. It's like, you can't really explain it. You're like, I'm in love. Like, what does that mean? It's like, I like the vibe of this person. So now I want more. I want another date. Okay, now we can become boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, now we can be married. I think once you have established that, it makes it easier to have an offer that it doesn't have to be perfect. I think if you can if you're really good at making an offer, I feel like do that first, right? But I think the issue is like a lot of people, it's hard to do that. Like you have to really nail the messaging. You have to really nail like what is the offer, like what's included, all this type of stuff. So I was like, I think if you can just get people to like you and to trust you, then you can just say like, hey, I have this other thing, and it's so much easier. Like you don't have to really explain it that much. So it's just like an idea I had. I was like, maybe it's stupid, maybe it's not, but I'm not gonna come into school trying to sell to people. I'm not gonna be doing these like expert posts. I'm not gonna try to even get clients. I just want to like build friendships with as many people as possible, like, and add value to them. Like it's not like, hey, they have to become my client. It's like, bro, how can I go above and beyond, like refer them to people, like send them a YouTube video, like how can I just become known as like a thoughtful and helpful person. I think that was like my key. That was like the only thing I'm like focused on. I'm like, if I do that with enough people, I think eventually it'll turn into something like over time. And it might take a year, might take 2 years, but I think if I'm just consistent with that, like that, I feel like that's the key.
Oh, I think it's going to happen way faster. But I think like you've got a lot of like truth there too, because I know one of the frameworks that they typically say is if you don't know what kind of an offer to do, it's find a niche that you're really passionate about, get to know them really intimately, figure out what problems they have, and then learn how to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that is now you know exactly how to talk to these people. You know exactly what types of problems they're having. You now know how to solve it. And you've just built all these relationships with all these people. And so it's way easier to sell them, like you said, because now they know you. They like your vibe. They've gotten to know you, all of those things. So I mean, that's definitely 100% a strategy.
I think the other thing I'll throw in there, because I think one thing that's important for entrepreneurs is not to like, how do I say it? It's not to like find a guru and listen to what they're saying. I think it's to know your personality and find advice that aligns with that. Because like the way I do it, I talk to other people that don't like people. Bro, don't do what I'm doing because that's not going to work. Like you need to find someone else that's successful at building a business that's like, I don't really like talking to people, and follow what they're doing. But I think for me, I like talking to people more than I like the business side of it. Like I love just like helping people like in general. So for me, it's like the money just allows me to keep doing that. And I think that's the reason why some of it works, because like that's like, it's like, I guess like people that I think, like I hear a lot of people in the online space are like, oh, you need to outsource this. Like you shouldn't be working in your business. You should be working on it. Like, oh, you shouldn't, like you're trading your time for money, blah, blah. And I'm like, imagine if LeBron James is like, oh, I need to outsource like playing tonight. It's like, bro, he's a billionaire, but he still has to show up to the game. Like Lil Wayne, Drake, whoever, like they're still in the studio, right? They're still recording the vocals. They're not like let me outsource like the thing. Like they still go on tour. And I think it's the difference between loving like what you do. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do that thing because that's what I want to do, and then I'm gonna get paid to do it. But I think a lot of people is just like, I want to make money, and I heard that school is a good way to do it, so now I'm trying to do it. But you don't really like community. It's like it like love houses if you're gonna be a realtor. Like don't just like get into real estate because your friend John made money, but you're like, I don't like showing people houses. I don't like interior design. Like I don't like any of this stuff. So I think like if you're gonna be, for me, if we're talking about community, it's like you really have to genuinely care about like the niche that you're serving, and it comes across that. And then people are like, oh, this is a good vibe, this is genuine, and then they like the rest happens naturally.
I love that. And I think you hit it on the head. It's like you have to be passionate about and love what you do. Because just like you said, like LeBron James is not sitting there and saying, oh, I don't feel like playing today. Let me outsource that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. That's ridiculous. And I think a lot of times, like we go into these money-making ventures thinking my goal is to make X, Y, and Z amount of dollars. And how's the fastest way that I can do that? Instead of thinking, hey, what's the biggest way that I can have an impact, a positive impact in the world, and make the money be a byproduct of that. It's like we put the money above the actual mission. So I love what you're talking about, which is just like putting the mission first and realizing that we have to give ourselves to that. And that there is no like get rich quick scheme. Everybody's out for that. And it's ridiculous. Like you have to put in the work and you have to show up and be there for it. Absolutely.
I think the difference is, and like, hopefully I can be an example of like, you can do it this way and make good money. I think the issue is like, a lot of the people that are trying to like put people first are like broke, right? They're like missionaries or like nonprofits. So it's like, yeah, I'm helping these people, but I don't have money. Or you have people that are like, I'm just making a bunch of money, but I'm not really community or people focused. And so here's my Stripe. screenshot. And so I think people feel like, from what my experience of what I've heard is like, yeah, but that takes a lot of time. Like, I don't want to have to get on a free call with Michelle. Like, like my time's worth something. I don't want to send everyone a DM. I don't want to reply to comments. And so I think we need people that are setting the example of like, hey, I just really cared about these people. And it turned, I think it's like with social media. At first, it's like, how are you going to make money posting videos? I'm not wasting time doing that. But then people were like, hey, I spent a year building my YouTube channel and now I make X amount of dollars per month. So now people are like, okay, cool. I'll spend money on an editor and all this stuff doing that. And if I'm consistent, it'll turn into something. I think people just they don't believe that if they care about people that they can make money as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get stuck in that, like that having firm boundaries around what you do. Like, yes, I can help people, but how do I help people while also making the money I deserve, right? Yeah. And having a fair expectation of that, right? I think sometimes people think like, oh, this is what my value is, and therefore I'm not going to settle for less. It's like, well, that's great, but if nobody's buying from you, then you're not even getting that. So what are you talking about? You know? Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, me and Lauren were talking about that yesterday, and I think the mindset I have right now is like, I want what I'm doing to be valuable, but maybe it's not. I think that's a good like mindset shift to have, where it's like right now, like we have a paid mastermind. In my mind, bro, yeah, that's worth a lot of money. Like, you could go in there and get results. If you make 6 figures, like, why can't you pay me 10? But people haven't done that yet because it's new. Maybe I'm not good at facilitating it. Maybe it's not structured right. Maybe it's only worth $10 right now. I don't know. And so I think like a lot of us come in there with these egos of like, yeah, well, if they're broke, I don't want to work with them. Yeah, it's worth this much. And it's like, I think if you're just like wanting to serve people, I feel like it's just like that stuff comes, you know what I mean? It's like the women that are like, it's like you're single, you want to have a husband, but yet everyone has to take you to this like 5-star first date in order to be with you. And it's like, well, I'm worth this. Like, how do you know though? Who said that? Who told you that? You're saying that. No one told you that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if no one's willing to take you out on that 5-star date, then you got to kind of like look in the mirror.
You're right.
A bit, right? Figure out like what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And then I also think like, at least I know specifically for moms, I think it can be hard for people to figure out what they're passionate about, or to have a belief that they can't get paid for what they're passionate about. So do you have any experience, like, what would you kind of say for someone that's thinking along those terms?
Either we're doing something that's genius or we're doing something that's stupid right now, which is like, we don't have set prices on like anything that we do. So everything is pretty much like, I think the best way to frame it is telling people this is where my vision is. That way they have an idea. So let's say you're making a brand new, I want to say community, but not like online community, like for houses, right? A place for people to live. And you want to build these super dope mansions, but this is your first time doing it. And so in your mind, you're like, these are $5 million homes, but I've never sold them before and I've never built them. So maybe they suck, maybe they fall apart. I don't know. I think the best way a way that we're doing it is telling people, hey, this is the vision. This is what the houses are going to look like. We want them to eventually be $5 million homes. But right now, like, this is a brand new concept. We don't know what we're doing. And so what would it be worth to you? And I think one, that allows you to get people in, it allows you to get feedback. But imagine that person that sees that vision and they're like, wow, this is a $3 million value. And they let me get it in for like what they come up with. That person, if you provide if you follow up, let's say in this example, you give them a really dope home, they're going to tell other people. Some of those people might pay the same. Some of them might pay less, but some of them might pay more. And I think it's like the same thing when people say just work for people for free, but I feel like this way, at least you're getting paid. And so if you provide those people with really good experiences, like that word of mouth, eventually those people pay more. Eventually you can have set prices. So I think you just kind of come up with like who you want to work with, start working with, like, have a place. I think this is why a community is great, because you have a place where you can talk to them. Otherwise you have to always talk to people individually. So really, it's just like a test. It's like a place where you're just hanging out with them. Like, don't think of like in my mind, you don't have to think about offers and all that stuff yet. You're just like, okay, I want to help moms. I want to help dads. I want to help whoever. Like, you have a place where you can gather them. It doesn't have to be a school community. Maybe it's just like a WhatsApp group or something. Basically, you're just hanging out with them and getting feedback. And then you think of like, okay, what could I provide to them? Everything doesn't have to be coaching. Maybe it's like these people would love to have like a new mug every single month, or whatever that is, iPad covers, I don't know. And then it's like you can just offer it to people like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What would that be worth to you? And it gives you an idea. And then you just provide a really good service, get feedback, and then like go from there. That's what we're doing. Maybe in 2 months I'm like, oh, that was stupid, we didn't make any money. But I guess I don't really talk about this, and maybe I don't talk about this enough. But basically, like the first month that we really tried this, like we almost like hit 5K. So I think a lot of the times in school, people are like, yeah, but you can't make money doing that. And I'm not really trying to like go in there and prove myself to people or like post all these screenshots. But it's like, well, our community is growing. There's a lot of engagement, and like it almost did like 5K in like that first month of offering that thing. So I think it can work. And I think the more value that we do provide people, like it's just going to be more and more. And it was like snowball basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're setting the foundations, right? So I think like the community is the foundation of where you're building your business on.
Yeah.
And without that strong foundation, the business is going to be rocky and shaky. And I think a lot of people want to get to that end result, right? We kind of talked about earlier where they put the money above the mission. And I think the message here is just kind of like to slow down, right? It's like to slow down and make sure you're doing a good job, because if you do a good job, then you're building those firm foundations.
Yeah, I
So
think it's like people are like think about musicians. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna go on tour. I'm gonna go sell tickets. Okay, what's my offer? What's my messaging? Run ads. It's like nobody wants to come to your concert because they don't know who you are. Like who goes to concerts? Fans. How do you like you have to create the fan base first, and then the fans buy the merch. They go to like if I don't know you, I'm not going to a meet and greet. That doesn't make sense. But because they have these fans, like people go crazy and they buy all this other stuff that isn't even of like a specific outcome. It's like meet and greet, come take a picture, come get my autograph, come to the VIP. Like you can kind of like I feel like when you have a fan base, you have a community, you can almost sell like whatever you want. You know what I mean? Because it's like they know you, they trust you, they just want more access to stuff. It makes it easier for people. So yeah, I think a lot of people are skipping steps, and it's like, okay, how do I make money? And it works for people. And I think that's the bad thing. But like those people are really good, like a Dan Henry or Russell Brunson. They're very good at coming up with an offer, doing a webinar and pitching it. Or you didn't know that they already had like an existing audience. So they're not good. They're not better than you. They just have more people. So like maybe Russell Brunson's converting 3% of his 200,000 people audience, where you're converting 3% of your 5 people that you know. So in your mind, like he's doing so much better. It's like, well, he just has more volume, but it's still hard, and he's not better than you. So yeah, I think like the way that I'm approaching it is like I really want to have a deep relationship with people. That way they're going to events, they're buying hoodies, like and it's something that nobody can take away from you. Like if it's just based on an offer, someone can come up with the same offer, better price, or it's almost like a commodity. But when it's like a brand and like a fan base, it's like if people are true fans of a singer, it doesn't matter if someone else is singing. It's like I still want to go to that person's concert. I want to go to that person's thing. That's like what I want to do, like with Undeterred, where it's like, man, I'm all out for like that brand. Like it's just a vibe, a feeling that I have.
yeah, I love that. It's like, and it's funny actually, because even Russell Brunson, he made an announcement in January about how he was like rebranding everything. Like his podcast is now the Russell Brunson Show. Like he's really going die hard into the personal brand,
Oh wow.
because everybody's realizing that like that is so crucial and important. So, I agree 100% that personal brand, I think that is going to be the future, right? People trust a person more than they trust a logo or trust something like that.
Yeah.
And when you make that association of like, hey, you trust me, now I'm going to associate that with the business I'm trying to run, then you get so much trust and credibility there. So
Or I would say your company has to provide that personal touch, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So ClickFunnels has to have people in ClickFunnels that are connecting with people. So it's like you're known. It's not just like ClickFunnels the company. It's like, oh, there's Sarah that works at ClickFunnels, and she always reaches out to me, helps me with my funnels, or like these people. So they know they love your brand. But yeah, I think it has to be a way for them to connect with people somehow.
yeah, that personal connection is so crucial. So they got to have you. Have you seen the new school ads that they've got going on right now? They've
No.
got all these ads with all the different people that have like awesome school communities, and they got to have you up there being like, community, bro, that's how to do it.
Let's go. I gotta have like a cool emoji maybe before that happens. Who knows?
Love it. Love it. So that's super cool. So but you started all of this in a Facebook group. So how do you feel like Facebook compares to school nowadays?
Bro, Facebook groups just suck, man. Like, first off, I think like when you're doing it on Facebook, it's almost like algorithm based. It's like you have one, there's like so much stuff going on in Facebook, right? So it's like you're like you just did a post about your birthday. So now you have like all these freaking notifications about that, but then you have like notifications about these communities you're in. But then if Facebook doesn't like what that person's saying, are they even going to show it to you, or they can like censor it, or like you get your group deleted? And then I don't know. I just feel like it's cool for certain things, but I feel like it's not really the best for, I feel like, communities where like school, like the purpose of it is for that. The thing I really do like about school is, one, it doesn't have all like these other distractions of like a feed. There's not really like, what do you call it? Like moderated, like where people are like being silent for all these posts. But the thing I love about it now is the same thing I hated about it before. Because I was like, well, there's going to be all these notifications from other communities. I'd rather them just be on a circle where they just have mine. But the thing I like about school now, I realize that's a benefit. Like, you have all these communities in one place. So they don't have to log out and go somewhere else. It's like you're hanging out with a group of people, and it's kind of like being in a house party. It's like the party is like in one big house, but then sometimes you can go outside. Sometimes you can go in this room. Sometimes you can go in and these other places. And so it's like all the parties are happening in one place. So it's very focused on like a community vibe, where Facebook is like people are on there for like different reasons. So it's like, and then like you have like DMing people. I feel like is always like hard on there. You can only send so many DMs. Like they can block you. It's like, I feel like it's too moderated basically. Like you can't really safely run a business there. Like you always have to be like on eggshells. It seemed like, for me at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think a lot of people agree. I know they just had like this huge wipeout of a bunch of some of the like top Facebook groups in Facebook for people that were running their businesses using Facebook, and just they woke up the next day and their group was gone. So that's been happening for sure. And I love that, like in school, like I agree. I feel totally safe there. We're able to just talk, and there's really not like, as long as you're not spamming the platform, then you're not going to get taken down or anything like that. So
Oh, another thing I'll add too is like, to be fair, they're very different sized companies, right? Like I don't even know what percentage of school would be a Facebook, but I would imagine it's very, very small. But you're not going to really get help, feedback, insight, or anything from like Mark Zuckerberg. Like, right? Like he's doing his thing, and it's like their customer support is just trash. School, it's like every week Sam Ovens is doing a video with updates, listening to feedback, like posting, sending a DM, like getting on calls with people, like inviting people to the headquarters. Like you can tell. Like I was talking to them the other day. He asked me for feedback on something. I was like, bro, the thing I love about you is like you're more focused on like helping people than just like money. So he's not like, what would make school the most money? It's like, what would make school the best platform? And by making it the best platform, it might lead to us making the most money. And so I feel like that's one of the only places that I've been on any platform where you have the founder like actually engaging with members and getting their feedback, listening, and then coming back and saying, here's what we did. It's almost like what Steve Jobs was kind of doing like for Apple, but like on another level, because now you have like a community where you can engage with him and stuff.
yeah. And you've got pretty good on the discovery. You don't have that gold star yet, but I'm crossing my fingers because I think you're going to get it pretty
We're in
soon.
the hundreds now. We just broke into there. So
You got this. Yeah, I was going to say you're absolutely crushing it. And I would be dumbstruck if you didn't get it within the next like month or so. But
yeah.
what would you say is kind of like how you got to building a community that's so engaged? Because I'll go into your group and I just see so many comments and every single thread, and I'm like, holy crap, there's so much going on in here. So, every time it's almost like overwhelming. I'm like, which thread do I start to look at? Because there's so many conversations happening. But what would you say is kind of like if someone's sitting there and they have a group and it's feeling a little dead, right? What would be the advice you'd give to someone there?
It's weird. I feel like the thing that stops people from growing a community is they're trying to grow a community. So like they're looking for all these tactics. It's kind of like, imagine like you go on a date like with your spouse and you're like watching a YouTube video before you go to the bathroom and you pull up a YouTube video, like conversations to have on it. It's like too forceful, you know what I mean? Like you almost have to just like relax and be like, what do I want to talk about? Like this is your spouse, like you're married to them, bro. Like just have a conversation. You don't need like a script, you don't need AI, you don't like, bro, just how was your day? Like, and then just have natural conversations. So I feel like now how do you practically do that? I think you have to become curious about the people and what you're doing. That's all I try to do. So like I'm just very curious about like our members, like what languages do you guys speak? Like what type of business do you have? Like why did you get started? Like these are questions that I would ask someone on an individual basis. It's not like, hey, how do I grow this group and get engagement? I'm just like, man, I'm actually like genuinely curious. Same stuff I do in school. I'm like, and it's funny, like whenever I do stuff, people are like, that was a great tactic. And I'm like, I wish I could take credit for that, but like I'm actually just curious, but it worked. It just happened to work. So I think it's like being curious. Like if you're helping moms, like don't just think about like how do I make money? Like you just focus on you. Like if you were with that mom at dinner, what would you be talking to her about? And then talk to everyone about that. And don't think like, well, how is that going to lead into making sales, into making money? That's what I think stops people. So what I see, for example, if I ask someone to post about, let's say like yesterday, I'll give you a prime example with no names. It's like, hey, someone asked me something about fitness. I'm like, hey, you should start a conversation in the community about fitness. And then it's like people feel the need to say, hey, instead of being like, hey, what do you guys do as an entrepreneur to be healthy? People have the need to be like, so over the past XYZ years, I used to struggle with this, and then I lost this much weight, and I've been doing these things. These are the 5 things that I did, blah, 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 blah. Because in their mind, they're like, people have to see me as like an expert in order for me to like sell them. And I think for me, it's like, you just have to have a relationship with them, and then you can sell to them privately in a conversation, or when you share stuff, they're more open to it. And so if you look at a lot of our posts, like almost nothing is selling. It's just like, let's have conversations, because I think if there was no internet, everyone would just go out to dinner, right? Like that's like they used to do. And you're going golfing or something, and you're just having a cool conversation for like 2 or 3 hours. And then at the end, you're like, by the way, what do you think about joining our mastermind? What do you think about our course? And then they're like, oh, I like your vibe. Like today was fun. Like how much is it? Let's do it. So I think just becoming curious and asking questions that get people to talk. And then I think getting people to talk together. So don't think of it as like, I have this community. Now I'm talking to Michelle. I'm talking to Rosita. I'm talking to Lauren. Get Michelle to talk to Rosita together, like connect them together, like make friendships. Like it should feel like a community. It should feel like we're all in this together. Like I like to I don't like, D Green will get the star, but we got the star because it's not me engaging. It's you. Like everyone's engaging more than me. Like there's more comments that are not me than there are of me. And so I think that's the way I look at it. It's not my community. Like, yeah, I started it, but it's like, it's our community. Like we're having conversations, we're having fun, we're building this together. Like if I win an award, like how can I give it to everyone? Like everyone should get it. Like you guys did it. Like I didn't do it, you guys did it. So I think it's like involving people. Like people just want to feel seen and be heard. So how do you do that in the community? How do you make someone smile? Like, bro, they actually care about my opinion. They care about my advice. Like they asked what I thought. I think it's not really complicated. Like I don't think of like, how do I get sales? So I think of like, how can I like build relationships and involve people? And then like, I just know like that like gets you to the sale. To me, I was like dating as an example, because I think it's very similar. It's like, if you want to marry someone, or even for the people like, I just want to sleep with this person, bro, you can't just do that like right off of the bat. It's like creeper vibes. So like we all like that's why guys are like, yo, you want to go get coffee? Like, how is a coffee gonna lead to getting married? Like that's how people sound. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, well, you go to coffee, you get to know this person. Then you go to a concert, then you go to a movie. Like, you don't ask, like, well, how is a movie going to help me marry this girl? Like, I should just ask her right now and then overcome the objections. No, right? That's how I see it. It's like, you just, like, I'm more like, I'm not just going to approach you and, like, oh, I have to have the best pickup line and the best offer and all stuff. It's like, let's go have fun at the movies. Let's go get coffee. And, like, over time, that's going to turn into this thing. I think if you have that, it's more relaxed. Like, just ask questions, become genuinely curious, connect other members, and just trust. Like, over time, like, as we get feedback on your offer, like, they're going to tell you what they want. And then if you go back to what we talked about before, where you let them pay, then you're going to start getting people. And then eventually, when it's worth something, then you can charge more.
Yes, and I love it because it doesn't come from a place of desperation, which I think most people are in. And I think that's the struggle, right? It's like so many people are in such a place of desperation where they're like, I need the money though. I don't have time to date someone for 3 years before I propose. Like, I don't have time.
2 years. I need you. Please, please, please. It's like, bro.
So cringy, right? So bad, but it's so funny because I think that is like the best example, right? Dating before marriage, because and if you think of it this way, it's like to these other people, especially if you have a high ticket offer, to them it almost is like the same level of commitment as a marriage, because they're about to put down some serious cash with you, so they need to feel that level of commitment. And I think for us, it's easy for us on like the business perspective to think of it as like, oh, you're just another customer. But for them, it's like, this is the coach, right? Or this is the service provider, or this is the whatever dog trainer, like whatever it is you do, right? To them, this is the person. And so, and I'm about to invest this money. And so you have to be just as committed to them as they are to you. And that happens through time and with relationship building. And so I absolutely love that. Like, that's a great analogy and something I hadn't really thought of that deeply before.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people have had experiences like that, right? Like, how would you feel if somebody is like, well, I know I'm valuable, so you should want to marry me. And it's like, they don't put any effort into getting to know you. It's just like, yeah, well, here's a Loom video on like what I would do if I was your wife. Like, so sign up. It's like, bro, no, like, that's not going to happen. And like, you see other people, and it's like, there's people that do that, right? There's guys that are like really good at that. Like, they can just walk up to any chick and like get whatever they want. But it's like, is that really are they even those are the type of women that you even want though? So I think it's like, are those the type of clients for the people that are doing that, the type of people that you want? So yeah, I don't know. I think like, it's just like taking a step back and not really, like you said, like trying to be so like desperate about it.
I love that. I think the community building is a great way too, because over the years, there's been so many different methods. There's been email marketing, there's been YouTube, there's so many different platforms that you can have. There was Facebook groups for a while, there was social media, Facebook business pages, all these things which have just like gone obsolete. I still think YouTube's a huge one, so I always tell people to get in on that. I still think email marketing is important too, but community and on school, like, I feel like that is like all of these things on steroids.
Yeah.
Because it's being able to make those connections with these people, but do it in a such more intimate way. So I believe that this community is like the future for how businesses are going to be working and operating. I think we're seeing that in real time as school develops and grows. But I was going to say, we're getting close to about an hour now, so I'd like to kind of start wrapping it up. But if you had any sort of like advice for someone who maybe just got onto school or they're building their own community, what would be the advice that you would give them for trying to have a successful community and something that they can build and to be able to start being profitable in their business?
I think first, like, I would like to, like, I guess, like, piggyback off what you said about like communities being the future. And like, it's weird maybe saying this, but I think people should stop viewing things like that. Like, of them saying like, oh, this is the next big thing, because I feel like you're doing things because it's what's next. Like, oh, I'm doing AI now. And I think like the reason why I think community works for me and you is like we like people. Like you genuinely like moms. And like you probably help a lot of them for way more than what they're paying you. But like that's just your personality. I think people need to be honest about themselves. Like if you're not into that, like maybe you should just go get really good at email marketing where you never see anyone's face or anything like that. If if you just are really good at video and you're like, man, I just want to record videos, like bro, just like make a YouTube channel and get really good at like maybe you do sponsored like ads. I think like the thing that I think is good for me now is I just took time to like, what do I care about? And I was like, it's people. So like I should be doing a community. What should my offer be? It should be about people. Like I'm not really trying to like just specifically coach and all, like I just like community. So I should just do more community. And I think a lot of people, you don't, they have like hidden agenda. Like they're going to be like, oh, YouTube's dead. Well, what are they selling? School community. Well, of course, like they're biased. Like they want you to like not do this thing so you can pay them. So I think the first thing is like, don't just listen to what me and Michelle are saying and then go apply it to your community. Like take a second and be like, should I even be building this community? Like, why are you doing it? Like you shouldn't be on school just to make money. I feel like that's stupid. Like, do you actually care about people enough to be like you're in a community? Like there's so many people I see on schoolers, like they don't care. Like they're like, bro, I don't feel like talking to all these people. I'm like, bro, that's a community though. It's like I don't feel like looking at houses, but you're a realtor. Like, bro, that's like what your job is. Like, I don't feel like making these songs, but you want to be a musician. Like, that's like the main thing of what you're doing. So I think like for a majority of people, I would think about that. Don't like there's so many ways to make money. Like people are still making money with LinkedIn. Like people are making money like with it with anything. Like if you get good at it, you can make money like with anything, like no matter how old it is. So don't just think like, oh, Dee's doing this, Calvin's doing this, Michelle's doing this. I need to do this. Like think about like what you're getting yourself into and if you should actually be doing that. If you are doing it, I think the first thing that I guess like in order kind of like I just thought about like who would be a good benefit to my community, like who would be interested in it. So hey, I just created this free community for moms. I would love to have you if you're interested in it. Something simple, like people that you already know. Like that's how you can get like I think we got our first like 25 to 50 people like just doing that. Then it was like, where is my audience already that I can go like dominate, so to speak? Like, and when I say dominate, I mean like go and just build so many relationships that everyone is like giving you good praise. Like, man, I know this person, they're a good vibe. That's what you're going for. Not like they're the smartest person. They do all these like you really want people to just like your energy, really. That's how I look at it. So where can you go to where you can give that energy? Maybe it's in person, maybe it's in another school group, maybe it's in a Facebook group, but like where can you go do this like on a consistent basis? And like kind of like almost only do that. Like don't be like, I need to have an email list and like you're like you see Michelle's a podcast, and like now you do a podcast, but then now you're trying to do YouTube videos and you're trying to do Instagram. Like you don't I think like just try to master like that one space, like until you're getting people. Like once you're getting people and it's working, like yeah, do other stuff. But when you don't know how to do anything and you're trying to learn everything, it's like too hard. So now you should be getting people in, right? You invited people, you're in a space, like even if it's one person a day or one person a week, then I think in the community, like we were talking about before, like you just have to really be curious and care about people. Like it should be more about the vibe than it is like just hardcore trying to nail like them with the message. Once they are liking the vibe and the energy, that's when you hit them with like the message. It's kind of like with the dating, right? You know, you want them, you like maybe your idea is like to get married and like the vows and like what all that work looks like. But first you got to do like the dating and like getting to know them. So like you're just getting the vibe. And then I think the cool thing with like relationship is like you don't have to have the perfect funnel or the perfect messaging. Like you can explain it to Michelle and you're talking and some of it doesn't make sense, but she can ask you questions. Whereas if you just like for me before I was doing is like I just kept redoing like a funnel like almost every day it felt like. And I'm like, dude, like the headline doesn't make sense. The copy doesn't make sense. The video doesn't make sense. And you're just like running traffic to it. You're wasting money on ads. You're doing all these social media posts and like you're not really talking to people because you're like, oh, I'm busy. It's not worth my time. Like, I don't want to have to talk to all these people. I don't want to do this stuff for free. But I think when you're talking to people, it's so much easier to explain what you do. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing. What do you think about it? So I think you just do that every day. Like you're getting on calls, getting on podcasts, DMing people, getting feedback. Once you start figuring out what people need, then you can start doing like the pay what you want. And like what they pay is going to be based on what you do. So for example, if you're like, I'm going to help moms. Hey, I have a PDF that I want to give you guys on like how to grow your business. Like people are not going to probably pay you to pay for that. But if you're like, hey, I'm thinking of like twice a year, like we all fly out to Japan and all expenses paid in a 5-star hotel, all your meals paid. But like people are probably not going to want to pay you $5 for that, right? But then you have like maybe you don't have as many people. So you just think of like what are some cool things that you would want to do for the people that you're passionate about? Like what would you like to do? And then just tell them this is my vision, this is how much I'm thinking it would be worth. But right now, I think just be humble. Like right now, maybe it sucks. Like probably does. So like I really just want to get feedback. But I also don't want to just help people for free because then they're not going to value it. So like, what would that be worth to you? And like, I think the beauty of I thought this was a stupid idea, but like sometimes people only have $50. I feel like we've all been in that situation. If not, like you're probably not listening to this because like you're good on money. But like we've all been in a situation where like, bro, like you might be at a restaurant and you swipe your card and you don't even know if that's going to go through, or maybe it doesn't go through. You're like, crap, like I don't have enough money for gas or for my kids or whatever. And I think, will you make a lot of money in the beginning with this? Maybe, and maybe even probably not. But I think it goes a long way. Like, let's say for moms, when it's like, man, Michelle really took that risk on me. Like when I only have $50 and she helped me when no one else would. How much better of a testimony is that to like other moms that she knows? And some of those moms now they have $1,000. So that person paid 50, but this mom has 1,000. And the next mom has like 10. And then somebody that's famous or someone that's big hears about what you're doing and they just want to give you money to make sure that you can keep going. That's how I think about it. And so you're kind of like building like goodwill, especially in the beginning. Like you don't have any clients. So would you rather have 0 or 50? You know what I mean? Like take the 50, help them, and then like go on from then. Obviously that depends on what we're doing. Like if it's $50, but you gotta like pay all their expenses, maybe you don't do that. But I think yeah, you're just like helping these people and you're kind of letting them build it with you. And I feel like then they're gonna want to tell other people naturally about it. And then like eventually you have an unfair advantage because people just like the vibe and the energy of what you're doing. So now it's like fans. Like now they're just wanting to buy everything that you do. Like you have a small percentage of people that are like, if you put out a t-shirt, if you do an event, like I'm there. But like that takes time to like build. But once you have it, it's like, dude, these people are gonna do whatever you do. So I hope that helps people, but that's basically like how I'm going about it.
I love it. Thank you. And we'll make sure we have your link to the Undeterred group in the description as well. But thank you so much for hopping on today. And my kids are interrupting me right now, of course.
They're not kids, yeah. They're the co-hosts.
The co-host, yes. I'm going to have to think for a second about whether or not I should edit that out or not, but we'll see.
All the moms that are listening, they're like, okay, cool. Like she's doing it. Like
I know. I know. And I usually don't, but I don't know. See.
I thought that was just the staff with some notes for you. Show notes.
Adorable little staff in Pokemon pajamas.
we have our next podcast guest coming up. You need to wrap this one up.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.